Howdy, folks, and welcome to Skuttle Bean Lodge, where the beans are going to be spilled and great stories are going to be told, hopefully before I get too old. And I'm your host, Farmer Mike, a farmer at heart. Tonight, going to give your life a jumpstart. And the first topic of the show today is how the show became to be. And it's an introduction to the show, folks. So anyway, let's go back, way back to high school. And if anybody can remember high school, a lot of my friends completed high school, and I just want to say rah, rah, rah. They went on to great things, my friends. But anyhow, let's start with the beginning. I went to Merritton High School in St. Catharines, Ontario, and we had a television arts class. And I took that course, and I really enjoyed it, working with the cameras and taping shows. And then we came to a final project at the end of the year to do our own 30-minute show of something. So I decided to do a cooking show, and I wore a t-shirt from the Lancer restaurant. My friend Jimmy Nicolaitis' dad owned a restaurant in St. Catharines, a family-style restaurant, and awesome restaurant, and beautiful staff too. The staff was half of the business. And anyway, and I wore my mom's big green sunglasses. Okay, and I didn't. Bottom line is, my script was good, but what happened was my ingredients to my Caesar salad I was making was I was missing some ingredients. So I had to kind of ad-lib, they call, or fill in with other words. Well, I did that, and the class just loved it. They went crazy. I thought I was a movie star or something. But anyway, it just kept getting funnier and funnier. Well, maybe to the point of ridiculous. But anyhow, we had fun, the class. And the teacher, God bless her, Mrs. Swan, she's a fantastic teacher, very stern. And she said, well, you should have prepared and had your ingredients ready because she changed the scheduling for the show. So I was caught off guard, and that was my fault because there's a lesson there because I would have been more prepared. So anyway, we did the show, and I failed profusely. She says, you didn't follow the script, and a big list of things. Wow. I didn't know I was that big of a failure at the time. And I said, I'm sorry, I apologize for this thing, but for poor performance. So then she smiled, and she says, well, what I'm going to do is put it in the time capsule that's being buried soon for the school, and they were closing the school. So it's quite the big event, shutting the school down after being around for a long time. Anyhow, she put it in the time capsule and marked it a video to watch for things not to do when you make a movie. Now the end result of this brought me to another thing, a totally new thing, because I needed more credits to graduate high school to go to farm school. Well, I needed 7 credits, or I would have been like the Fonz on Happy Days and been at school until I was 40 years old. So we ended up doing this work project with a company called McLean Hunter Cable TV. And they did a lot of local broadcasting and taping of the area, the Niagara region. And it was quite interesting, a place, a little cable TV station. Very full of action. It was like a very good going concern. And anyhow, I ended up, for my time doing it, I used to tape curling shows with the producer, and I used to tape Mondays was City Council of St. Catharines, and I got to meet all the politicians every Monday night. And then Tuesday was Thorold, Ontario. that I did, plus a lot of in-between shows. And these stints were 3 to 5 hours of taping. So it added up to some weeks of this became like a full-time job for a whole year prior to my going to farm school to graduate. So I worked and I did this with all these beautiful people, learned a lot of stuff of what not to do, making a video, and that's all I could say. So that, to me, it could be the beginning of the thought of recorrecting something and doing another show a little differently as times have changed. So that was one of my first inspirations, I believe, from the past that helped me do what I'm doing now. Now, I would say the second one was from a friend, Donnie Baggio, one of the funniest men I've ever met in my life. Most positive person, nicest person, kindest person. He would just do anything for you. He helped me and my friend out when we hit the bottom of the barrel for monies one summer, and he took care of us, Donnie, and him and Angela, his girlfriend at the time, was so kind to my friend Angela. So we had a great time. It was a beautiful time with a nice guy. And anyway, getting to the point, I can sometimes get off track. I apologize. Getting older now, and my memory ain't so good. But anyway, without the piece of paper in front of me, I kind of sidelined off there. That's how good my friends were. But God rest his soul, he died. But he was coming up to do the Three Amigos. We were going to do a cooking show with him and his friend. And we used to talk on the radio, the phone for 2 hours, 3 hours, until the phone died out, just talking. And he'd make me laugh full rip. And we were going to do a show, and he was going to move up here, and we were going to start a few businesses. And poor Donnie, my best friend there at the time, passed away. God bless you, wherever you are, Donnie, because he was one of the greatest people I've ever met in my life. And that definitely has inspired me, definitely, to do this show. Alrighty, and then let's go to the next inspiration, which would have to be the Red Green Show and the Bob and Doug McKenzie show from years ago. And then the biggest one would be the Red Fisher Show for Skuttle Bean Lodge. And that's how the name came to be for the show, is remembering that show, the fishing show. And I liked it because they took still pictures of when they fished also, but they had live when they talked in the live footage of the show when the cabin, where they sat, where Red Fisher would sit by the fireplace and interview his guests. So I kind of got an idea of that. And then, so that name came to be Scuttlebutt, from Scuttlebutt to Skuttle Bean, because I love beans. And there's some stories about beans coming on the show. I'm sure you're going to like to know the stories. So look forward to those stories about some beans and how we came up, it strengthened the name. But anyway, we won't get into that now. We'll leave that out. But that's the other inspirations. And then the final inspirations would be the Carmela Spence, meeting Carmel and thinking of my mom who passed away of dementia in my arms years ago. And what a sad day for that show, I'll tell you. But anyhow, it all went as it was meant to be. And so what happened was I went and met Carmel at a book club. A lady was starting in Massey, and we connected, and we became instant friends. I've never met somebody that I became instant friends with. I've been instant girlfriend, but not a friend that quick. And anyway, it was just a miracle that we connected. And then she told me her story, and I said, we got to do something. We got to put this out there. This is too beautiful of a story. And then when we got talking, the other stories started coming out. Now this is over a year, folks. This is last summer that we met and started to talk about things. And so anyway, we've known each other for a good year now, and became great friends. And the stories are just endless with that lady. She's just a beautiful person and a storyteller and an author and many other things, a grandma, and she's bigger than big. And you'll hear her story on the show coming up. So then I would say the last part was the people talking out in public. That's the biggest one, because I would give them my opening pitch like I gave to you all earlier of the show and say, what do you think? And it was a 10 for 10. There wasn't anybody not thinking it was really good to do a show on the common folk and give them, not just to give them recognition, but their story recognition. You know, we get recognized for different things and get certificates and awards, but I give a gift of a coin that I've collected, coins from my coin collection, as something, not a certificate, because I'm not a university or a professional to give that. So I give a gift, what I can give. But the people inspired me. This is what I want to get at. Talking to hundreds and hundreds of people over the course of a year, and the consensus was that you got to do the show, and that's it. You got to go, and it's a must to talk about these stories. So the people were saying they loved podcasts, and I mentioned one day to a lady from Manitoulin Island and the strip at a little strip mall in Espanola, and I was complimenting her on the people that I met at Manitoulin Island, from Manitoulin Island and on Manitoulin Island, and the beauty of the people. Just it's like you've gone back into time, but I'm not even sure what time it is, but it's a beautiful time. It's this because I'm not from that time, but it makes me feel really good. And those people are very special to me in many ways, for many reasons. So I'd like to thank all those people that I talked to inspire me to come up with a podcast / the Great Canadian Radio Talk Show, because I mentioned it to the fella that was driving the van for the lady and 7 other people. And I said, what do you think of doing something like this for fun and hoping it inspires some people and makes their day in a good way? Hey. And I said that. Well, the fella just loved that. And he yelled out, did you know there's going to be a new radio talk show called the Great Canadian Radio Talk Show by Farmer Mike? And I couldn't believe I heard those words come out of anybody's mouth. I was so shocked. I have to tell you all that. That was a shocking event. I wasn't ready for that. You know, I'm just a simple guy, and for somebody to get all excited about it, I said, wow. I said, well, we're going to start with YouTube, where he said to put it on, and then we're going to send it to some local radio stations, like in Manitoulin, and see if they want to put it on for fun. You know, this is a fun thing. This is not for profit or a non-profit. This is definitely non-profit, but this costs money. So non-profit generally doesn't cost anything. It's run on donations, but I run on me, myself, and I and friends. So this show is sponsored by that and no other entities of businesses. So anything I say on the show about businesses we're not affiliated with, like the name of the show. And also I want to carry on this a little bit now about the beans and how that came to be, and finish the introduction off. it would be the beans. Held a big part of my life camping when I was a child. I always took the can of beans, always. At least one can of beans, maybe some soup. And anyway, it was just a fantastic time camping by myself in this valley called Jackson Flats, just outside of Western Hills, St. Catharines, Ontario. One of the best places to grow up in the world, I would say today. Best people I met, and all that. So the beans, I thought, what a name. And then I got a can of beans at the store, and I looked at the label, and I just couldn't stop looking at the label. There was a bear on it with a cowboy hat just like mine. And that was just so bizarre. And then I kept reading on the label more and more information that really inspired me. It had a cowboy scene, cactus, a picture of cactus, and a wagon wheel, I think, and it was dedicated to T.G. Spragg, I believe. I think I said the name right. It was a country singer singing love songs from way back in the day. And it must have been a family member from the history I read. And they put this can of beans dedicated, the musician, their family member from the past, they dedicated the can of beans to the singer. And beautiful music, by the way, so check it out. But it was a Spragg Foods company out of Belleville, Ontario. And I just have to say it's really a cool can of beans. On top of it, it tastes really unique and a great taste. It's got a different taste, different flavors. They've got 4 different cans of beans, I believe, and it's just wonderful. It's a pop-off top, and that to me is one big thing for my hands. Have serious arthritis, and the can opener ain't my friend no more. No more. So saying that, that's the big inspiration, and I just want to say today to the Spragg Bean Company, who I've never talked to, that thanks for making such a cool label and such a good product, and it's Canadian, made in Canada, and Belleville, Ontario. And I just want to say good on you, and thanks for being who you are and doing what you're doing. And one day I'm going to try the vegetarian chili. They supposedly is really good, I've heard, but never had the chance to get it. So we're hoping that we can find some of that one day from Spragg. I know you can order it online, but I want to buy it just from the locals to support the local stores. It's all about supporting all of the locals. So that would wrap it up for the introduction, and we'll carry on the interviews as best we can on our homemade tape recorder device and simple pictures from a flip phone camera. And hopefully we can inspire some of you all folks out there, to talk about your story. And I feel that all stories are important and can shine a light on something that can make it a little more brighter. Shine a light to make it bright. There we go. So anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed that rendition, and I'm going to start off the show in a few minutes. We'll be coming back, and we're going to take a break, get our paperwork ready, and I'm going to give you a little talk about some farm history down in the Niagara region, where I was born and raised and spent a big chunk of my life. So hope you enjoyed the introduction, and we'll be back in a minute to carry this show on. Take care now. That's it. That's all for that part. Thank you kindly for listening.